Hi everyone, and welcome to the second day of 2024. Presumably you're all now in 2024, and thanks to all the good wishes. Really appreciate that in the comments section. Now we'll start off with a regional story because this time of the year, when you've sort of lived in Phuket as I have for the past 13 years, not a year goes by at this time of the year when you don't think about that 2004 tsunami. Which takes us to this BangkokPost.com. Major Japan quake kills 4, triggers tsunami waves. And reported from Tokyo, at least 4 people have been confirmed dead after a major earthquake struck central Japan yesterday, triggering tsunami waves over a metre high, damaging homes and sparking a major blaze. The 7.5 magnitude quake struck Ikishikawa Prefecture on the Sea of Japan side of the main island of Honshu. Happened around about 4:10 local time yesterday, according to the US Geological Survey. Waves of at least 1.2 metres, that's about 4 feet, hit the port of Wajima, and a series of smaller tsunamis were reported elsewhere, including as far away as the northern island of Hokkaido. And officials in Ishikawa Prefecture confirmed 4 fatalities early yesterday, according to a local news agency. And reported in CNN, service resumes on Japanese bullet trains after hundreds of passengers were stranded for hours. The 4 bullet trains, whose high-speed journeys were halted when a powerful earthquake struck Japan yesterday, have now resumed service to their destinations, according to the public broadcaster in Japan. And aftershocks continue, according to the US Geological Survey. At least 31 smaller aftershocks were reported near the region where the earthquake struck. The agency said aftershocks could continue for days to months to follow. Just part of life living in this part of the world, all the way from Japan through Southeast Asia into Indonesia on the Pacific Ring of Fire. So there's always going to be earthquakes and, well, I suppose the potential for tsunamis. Now let's check this story about airlines coming to save the world. These are some new airlines apparently being established in Thailand. So far we've found it pretty disappointing, but the story persists. We go to nationthailand.com. 9 new airlines near to service launch in 2024. Presumably as a public holiday, they didn't have much else to write about yesterday. Let's see if we can glean any more details out of this. The Thai government set a target of 40 million foreign tourists in 2024, a substantial increase from the 27 million who came in 2023. So just out of the gate, a bit of a bold claim there that the tourism numbers for 2024 are going to be back to the numbers that we had in 2019. We'll see. And out of this list published on The Nation, Asian Aerospace Service, that's a new one. A CMC plane, really cool. Avanti, Landark, Bangkok Helicopter Services. Then we've got Pattaya Airways, Asia Atlantic Airlines, that's also a new one. And P80 Air, as we've established in the past, it's only P80 Air and really cool airlines that are showing any signs of actually establishing flights, regular scheduled flights into Thailand that could add to the current list of people flying into Thailand. Now let's check one of these new names on the list, and we've got Asia Atlantic Airlines, apparently a charter airline headquartered in Bangkok, Thailand. It was a subsidiary of the Japanese travel agency HIS, and they've got a total of 2 planes, 2 old Boeing 767-300s, particularly old planes, and I don't think that they're going to be doing much to bring your airfares down. And just the final paragraph from that story from Nation Thailand, though some will focus on regional and domestic routes or have limited passenger seating, these 9 new airlines are expected to add capacity to the Thai aviation market and help boost tourism. Some of the new airlines may also operate international flights. And as we said, it's only really cool airlines and P80 Air, if they do get up into the air this year, that are going to be operating flights mostly in those cases from Japanese and Chinese ports. So yes, we'll be packing this up over the next few days, saying goodbye to Christmas for this year, and thank you for those people that were reminding me yesterday. Now, to the main story from yesterday, and now it's reported in Phuket-go.com, boat captain tests positive for drugs after fatal boat crash on Koh Maiton, and a tragic incident occurred on Sunday afternoon near Koh Maiton as a speedboat named Aparak crashed into rocks, resulting in the death of a 5-year-old Russian girl and injuries to 9 others, including the boat's captain and crew. Officials are currently awaiting the results of a drug test conducted on the boat driver, a 41-year-old, and the crew. He remains in a coma and is awaiting surgery following injuries sustained in the crash. And Phuket's deputy health chief revealed that an initial drug test on the boat driver indicated the presence of a substance in the amphetamine category. He said, however, the specific substance has yet to be identified. And just as a way of background, the incident occurred when the twin-engine boat carrying 7 Russian tourists returning from the PP Islands to Phuket collided with rocks near Koh Maiton at high speed around 3:20 p.m. on Sunday. Weather and wave conditions were reportedly not hazardous for boats at the time. And reported in the PhuketNews.com, tour boat operators at Chelong Pier tested for drug. So officials in a complete knee-jerk reaction rushing down, of course with the media in tow, to make sure that they can be seen testing boat captains, making sure that nobody else is on drugs. And an update from Channel 7 and Thai Post, they've both reported that the captain of the speedboat, Aparak 89, had tested positive for methamphetamine use. And the mass drug testing followed the speedboat accident on Koh Maiton yesterday that killed a 5-year-old Russian girl and seriously injured several others, including the boat captain. Leading the officials were the new Phuket Vice Governor, the Phuket Marine Chief, and also the Deputy President of the Phuket Provincial Administration Organisation, who apparently operate the Chelong Pier. Chelong Pier, I suppose, being a Pattaya equivalent to Bali High Pier being the busiest commercial pier on the island. And none of the 23 samples tested positive for drugs, according to an official report of the testing. And the aim of conducting the drug tests and the visit was to follow up on maritime safety measures in order to build confidence among citizens and tourists. I don't know, does it? I think all that flurry of activity would have had most tourists scratching their heads thinking, what the hell's going on? It would have done little to inspire confidence, but this always seems to be a knee-jerk reaction from Thai officials anytime anything like this happens. Now, moving on to a little bit of Thai politics, a good article from Thai PBS World.com, and it's Thai politics, nobody has plan B. And the article quickly goes through some of the leading parties and what their plan B might be for this year. Let's read some of the main points. And let's start with the Conservatives. Their only plan is prevention of Move Forward becoming the government, even if that meant a marriage to Per Thai, the lesser enemy. How they deal with issues like the digital wallet and Thaksin Shinawatra will be awkward and potentially explosive throughout the year. Much will have to do with the fact that they have no plan B. Now Per Thai, their only plan is being where they are now, leading a government controlling key ministries like finance, something that was impossible if it had to form a government with Move Forward. No plan B is in store to deal with times when key policies evoke its reluctant allies' disapproval or outrages, and there's no clear direction on charter amendments either. And then, last but not least, Move Forward. Their only plan now is to keep being bold, a strategy which proved successful on May the 14th last year. They walked a tightrope and made it. There's a key difference now, though, which is apparently not being addressed. And they used to have Pita Limjorunrat, who is no longer there, at least for now. So quite a good little article and some analysis from Thai PBS World looking at the 2024 political landscape, and you can read more of that article if you go there. Now to this article from CNN Travel. It says, these were some of 2023's worst destinations for over-tourism. Here's how to avoid the crowds next year. Who's on the list? We'll check it out in just a moment, but the article says that, not surprisingly, many tourist magnets across the world, including several European hubs, have created initiatives and restrictions aimed to combat over-tourism issues. Among them, new or increased tourist taxes, campaigns aimed at discouraging problematic visitors, and attendance caps at popular attractions. So we don't seem to have any of those here in Thailand at this stage. Let's have a look at some of these destinations as reported by CNN Travel. And we start basically in alphabetical order with Amsterdam, and then we've got Athens, and a bit further down we've got Bali, of course, and then we've got Barcelona, a lot in the A's and the B's, Miami, and then Paris and Phuket. We'll come back to Phuket in a moment. And then we've also got Venice. And then back to Phuket on this list of places listed for over-tourism. And according to a study by moneytransfers.com, Phuket earned the top spot as the world's most overcrowded destination in 2023, with a whopping 118 tourists for every local resident. And the same study also found that Pattaya and Krabi, also in Thailand, followed in the second and third spots with nearly 99 and 72 travellers per resident, respectively. Well, that's an interesting metric. I'm not sure what you think about that way of measuring over-tourism. Certainly Phuket, being an island, only has a certain amount of locals on it and currently has, well, obviously a lot more tourists. On social media, many visitors describe Phuket as one of the most geographically stunning places they've ever seen, yet also remark that it's crowded and polluted thanks to mass tourism. And in an effort to shift towards more responsible tourism, Thailand's Tourist Authority has announced ongoing plans to target sought-after visitor demographics, included health and wellness aficionados, families with kids, active seniors, and remote workers and teleworkers. Well, really, we haven't seen any signs of preferences to those sorts of travellers. Really, last year was all about taking just anybody that they could that would come here and spend money. And then this quote, we believe this will heighten our goal for Thailand to achieve high value and sustainable tourist growth, according to Yutasak Supasorn. Well, he stepped down from that position last year, so it's just that quote and that designation, well out of date. And how to avoid the crowds in Phuket? Well, thanks to its tropical monsoon climate, Phuket's peak tourism season, generally from November through April, coincides with less rainy weather. Travellers who visit in the monsoon season, which generally runs from May through October, can take advantage of fewer crowds and lower prices, but should be prepared to contend with some wet weather. Well, again, that's a bit of an old-fashioned way of looking at Phuket's tourism industry. Really, the middle of the year is now as busy as any other time of the year, if you look at the figures back in 2018 and 2019. But Phuket making its way onto that list of the most over-tourist places in the world. A few other quick stories as we move through the news. Tragic accident. Chinese tourist falls to death from 10-metre waterfall in Pai. This happened on December the 31st when Pai police officers received a report of a Chinese tourist falling from a 10-metre high waterfall to his death at the Pambok waterfall in Pai, Mae Hong Son. According to a report by Thai forest officers, the Chinese tourist, who was identified as Peng Xin, 52, went to the Pambok waterfall with his sister before accidentally slipping from a 10-metre high waterfall to his death. Initially, there were no visible wounds from any sort of attack or struggle. However, the forest officers publicly stated that the Chinese victim went to the waterfall area without permission from authorised officers. The officers then transferred the body to the Pai hospital. Another article in the PattayaNews.com, and Happy New Year to Adam and the team there. Boat emergency exposes alleged response delays. Pattaya officials under fire for alleged nonchalant attitude. And the netizen reportedly using the name Lewis Sand posted on Facebook after he and his friends went on a fishing trip near Koh Maiton. However, one of the boats had an engine failure. As a result, one of the boats was unable to operate during high waves. And he reportedly tried to contact the Pattaya Maritime Disaster Prevention Office to ask for help 5 times. But apparently, as the boat was out of the Pattaya authorised area, they gave a number for the Koh Maritime Disaster Prevention Office instead. And you guessed it, they said, call those people that you've already called 5 times. And later, another official contacted Lewis San and allegedly said that December the 31st was a holiday, so they could not withdraw fuel costs from the office and could not come, and they'd have to wait until the next day, despite the emergency. And after a few hours, Lewis San and his friends reportedly had to rescue themselves to the shore safely without the helping hand of any responsible agencies available. And many people online who claimed they were fishermen also claimed they'd often had to respond to emergencies themselves because of similar situations. The Pattaya News notes that these claims have not been independently verified, and the statements were those of the individuals posting and not TPN media. And the Pattaya News notes that relevant government officials have yet to give their side of the story as of press time, and many people were looking forward to their explanation. So just another interesting spotlight there from the Pattaya News about marine safety in Thailand. And as we speak, we recall these stories from last week, and we presume that there are still 8 people missing, presumed dead from marine incidents in not only the Gulf of Thailand, but the Andaman Sea. And talking to somebody yesterday about the incidents in Phuket, and they noted that, we do get these high-profile stories from time to time, but it's nothing compared to the number of near misses that never get reported. So I think we're going to be hearing more about these incidents and maybe some of these near misses in the future. And with that, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you dropping in on this second day of 2024, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.